So when it comes to training, I mean, you have to undergo a lot of training that you're with the Department of Corrections now, being in the future. Are you mandated? Is that kind of the
Yes, I am
you
mandated.
are mandated?
Yes.
So you have to have a lot of specialized training, I'm sure,
Yes. Not just through corrections, but also through the marshals, through the task force.
through the task force.
Yes. Yes.
So not just basic, you have more training than just basic 20 hours of training a year. Is that
Correct. For corrections, we're required to have at least minimum of 40 hours.
40
And
hours?
we usually tend, you know, anywhere between 80 and 120 over the years. Now, some years maybe 45 hours.
Right, right.
But
Just depends.
we have to
You have to hit the 40.
hit the 40.
I got you.
But the specialized training came in early on. Task squad.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember you,
Yes.
dude.
Those were,
And I'm gonna tell you the honest truth now. Like back in that day working in corrections, there was a handful of people I was glad to see when something went on in my dormitory, and you were one of the guys I was glad to see.
I could probably name some of the other ones.
Yeah. I could name them too. There were some bad boys.
Yes.
Some bad boys
It
back
was
then.
it was comforting having
Yeah.
them around.
Times have changed a lot, but
Yes, they have.
inside the walls, I know they have.
They have get inside a prison every now and then. I mean, over the years, it's been limited.
Yeah.
But here recently, have gotten back inside there, and it's just, oh my goodness, the
Yeah.
change.
Yeah. Well, you were on the tactical squad. I remember that very, very boldly. And I remember y'all actually going out and looking for Eric Rudolph. You remember that?
Oh yes, that's
many
how I ended up with the fugitive apprehension unit.
Is that what led you to there when you were up there
Yes.
tracking him?
Yes, they had pulled me off to the side. They knew my military background and had a background in tracking. And they asked me if I wanted to go out in the woods. And I saw the other guys walking the perimeter. I was like, yes, sir.
Yeah.
And from that, I was approached and asked if I knew anything about the fugitive apprehension unit. And a friend of ours was already on there.
Yeah.
And so from there, it just developed. It was offered or got the position. And 25 and a half years later, here we are.
That's
We're
crazy.
still doing it.
That's crazy. From the mountain, that was in North Carolina?
North
wasn't it?
Carolina, yes.
From the foothill mountains of North Carolina, and you're
Yes.
still with them. That's what led to you taking on that job.
Up there for 10 and a half months.
So they saw something in you back then.
Yes.
I mean, I know you're a humble
Yes.
guy, but they saw something in you back then to pull you from Wilcox County Tactical Squad and offer you a job.
Yes, extremely fortunate.
And you touched on something that you didn't bring to the forefront, and I want to thank you for it. Thank you for your service.
Mm-hmm.
So you were in the military.
Yes, I was stationed at Fort Benning.
Okay.
From day one to the day I ETS'd.
I got you.
I was stationed at the 3rd Ranger Battalion there. On
I knew
Fort
you
Benning.
said that in the forum, but I never knew that about you.
Yeah.
But I see the signs, the GI Jeff, the GI Jeff signs around the school
Yes.
when I'm dropping the kids off in the morning.
Somebody came up and approached me with that idea, and
Yeah.
I couldn't turn them down on it, and it's gotten some pretty good
Oh
responses.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, you got to admit, GI
if you want to do
Jeff,
it,
GI Jeff.
yes, okay, I'm good with that. I'm proud of my service.
Oh, yeah.
It's that was, as far as to me, the process of
Right.
me getting to where I am at now.
Right.
My experiences in
And
there.
I think that was a great building blocks foundation. I mean,
Oh, yes.
anybody that could go. Were you Army, infantry?
Yes, Army.
Army.
Yes. So I went through basic training, AIT, then airborne school, and then back then it was RIP, the Ranger Indoctrination Program. And there's 3 Ranger battalions, and I was assigned to 3rd Battalion, which is on Fort Benning. So
Right.
I stayed there the whole time, except for deployments outside of the state and some outside of the country. So.
Right. Well, I appreciate your service.
Well, thank you.
So let's talk back again about training. So what types of specialized training do you have that you see would benefit you as a sheriff?
Well, again, I'll go back to that in the military.
Right.
The training that I received there, been able to go through Ranger School, which is, actually a leadership school. And then getting on with the Marshal Service. Well, starting off with BCOT, TAT Squad. I mean, it just keeps building on top of each other.
Right.
And then once I got onto the fugitive unit, the Marshal Service sent us through their state and local fugitive investigators course, and that just developed me more through investigations and just the way that they operate. And then, of course, over the years, I was fortunate to have supervisors that, pushed me in the direction of obtaining, going through, what is it? I think it's changed now. Basic management training, advanced management training, CLI, and there's a PMP, which is a professional management program. So developing that aspect of it. But then there's so much more that I feel that, over the years that have built me up to prepare me for this position. On the task force, we receive training through the Marshal Service that doesn't necessarily show up on our post records.
Right.
So, some of that is specialized as far as tactics and that kind of stuff. And then there's also some technology training that we go through that we receive. So there's just a full, array of training that comes together, I think, to prepare for this position.
BCOT, basic correctional officer training,
Yes.
had to be a breeze compared to Army Ranger School, right?
Well, you would think.
Right.
No, it was a good course.
Yeah, but what I was going to touch on, what's the hardest training you've had since Ranger School?
Oh, wow. Because see, when you consider age.
Yeah, true.
I went through the GBI special agent course. I think I was 47, 48.
Gentle.
Okay. I'm revealing. So that was challenging because that was, again, being away from home for, I think it was 12 weeks.
Wow.
And they PT'd you.
That's a dirty word right there, PT at our age,
Yes, it is. Which I did receive the physical fitness award for that class. So I'm actually,
That's awesome.
Yes. Not meaning that I could do the most push-ups out of the whole class.
Right.
Just the overall.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, I remember I tried out for tactical squad. I can never get the run. I could do the push-ups, sit-ups, but I can never get the run down. Of course, I was 18, 19, and I had to do it in 2 minutes and something. Or 2-minute mile. I can't even remember how fast it was back then, but it was ridiculous.
So the hardest, again, that gets to Ranger School.
Ranger School.
Ranger School.
Ranger School.
Yeah.